Good morning, good morning. Did I do it right this time? All right, good morning. He does 5.
Yes.
But we did it this morning. We got it on. We nailed it. We nailed it. So good morning out in Streamville.
We are in our beautiful Charlestown, West Virginia office. We have a great crowd here, bright and early. We all navigated through. There's a big wreck down the road there. Slowed a little bit of our roll, everybody getting here.
Guess what?
What?
It snowed.
It did snow. Sarah was happy.
So happy. My son got up this morning and yelled, "Mom, you got a winter wonderland." But schools aren't canceled.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I had the first snow. There you go. That is nice and loud.
That is too much.
My
Johnny.
first snow experience today was, this is going to make me sound like a good dad, but it's not really.
Did you?
Yeah. So
You did.
My 16-year-old, now she drives. This is the first snow she's been driving. But she has 6:30 a.m. practice. For varsity practice. They're practicing before school because school doesn't start until 9:30 in Loudoun County.
You warmed up the car, didn't you?
Yeah, but Meredith actually texted and said, you might want to help Ava because not only would I turned it on, warmed up, but I did the scrape.
You scraped.
Because, she's doing hard enough to get out the house at 6:20. So for one day, I said, don't get used to this, Ava.
He is such a good dad.
Doing this every day.
I woke up Riley, my 18-year-old.
I would not have thought about if Meredith didn't text me and tell me, hey, you might want to help Ava.
That's so sweet. I woke my daughter up and said, hey, you need to give yourself more time. You need to scrape your car, warm it up, and it's probably obvious to get up.
That would be the future. But for one day, I gave her
There is a difference between 16 and 18. She's got 2 years of experience in the snow. Yes.
Yeah, so our first day. But it was nice, beautiful down here. But it's good to see everybody down here. We got some fun things to do. We get to meet some new Cardinal employees in person. We announced them last week, but we're excited about that.
So excited.
Lots more things to jump into. What we'll start with here is our first. We would like to acknowledge our rock stars here.
Our heroes.
Our heroes that not only brought the deals to Cardinal, but they were the listing agent side, and were able to get the full deal to come to Cardinal. So we got a couple this is since the last 2 weeks, since our last sales meeting where we announced Cardinal stuff. So Alex Echampong, Ali Dejanata, Ali D for short.
Ali D.
Arslan and Sajamil, Arturo Salemi, Dilyara Dominova, two times. Way to go,
Two
Dilyara.
listings. That's awesome.
My man out in Bealton, Lee Sherbin. Good to see you, Lee. Gamathi Nagaraj, Yvette Boer, Juliet Sherrill, Melody Briscoe.
Natalie and Kurt McArthur and Tammy Irby.
So
thank you
all
guys
for
so
bringing
much.
your listing sides to Cardinal Title Group. At the end, we will make sure we thank every single deal that brought to transaction that came to Cardinal in the last 2 weeks. I apologize to a couple of you missed this list last minute. We missed a couple on this list. I realized right before we went live here. But 57 new agents have joined us since our last meeting.
And if you don't make this list, you'll make next list.
Yes, so there's a couple of you that are on the next list but did join, so my apologies ahead of time. But I will start with the first crop page here. Khalil Carbo from One Street Company. Alicia Hurt, actually returning agent from eXp Realty. Good to have you back, Alicia. Amy Talon from One Street. Anne-Marie Clements from eXp Realty. And Anne-Marie actually was a broker manager for Weichert for the last few years. And tried out the eXp and didn't like it so much, so came right back over. So we're good to see you, Anne-Marie. Ann Brobal from Bryan Realty Group. Arnav Bopidi is a new agent. Arnie Kernis from Vintage Realty. Arnie's actually on staff with us as well with some recruiting stuff we're doing together. Ayana McKeever is a new agent. Brandon Brown from ExecuHome Realty, and Bruce Borko from Century 21 Redwood.
Sharnice Williams from Weichert Realtors. Christian Columbell is a new agent. Christina Magulik from One Street Company. Deep Kumar Patel is a returning agent for us. Esther Karanja from One Street. Also Fred LLC is from One Street. Gautam Satya from Weichert Realtors. From One Street, Gavin Creselius and Heidi Moore. Ion Stinka is a transfer agent. Welcome, you guys.
So as always, I forgot to mention this, but on the right side, you can always see the office that they joined. So if you see somebody that's joining your office, make sure to
say hi, be a buddy.
Say hi or be on the lookout for them.
And you'll see a bunch of One Streets there. We announced in the last couple of meetings that we did a merger with the One Street Company, which is a very large firm in DC and Bethesda. So we have a brand new Farragut DC office as well as a brand new Bethesda office that we have added. So a bunch of their One Street people are now transferring over, so you'll see that.
Irina Trasati from One Street, also Jillian Washington from One Street on this page. Isabella Carolina from Town Center Realty. Dane Work, who is a pro's pro. He's been in the business a long time. I made reference to him last meeting, but Dane does about 35 million in sales a year. He's a rock star. He had the the unfortunate occurrence of being on the other side of transactions 3 times with me during my career. I'm joking. But we had a good time, and we did some deals, transactions.
You remember every single one of those transactions too, don't you?
I do, kind of, yes. I remember all of them. So we had a good run there it was 3 of them within like 18 months of each other. But so Dane's a great guy, and we're very thankful to have Dane. He's been in the pro. He's been with Remax for, I won't say how many years, but a few years. Johish Hansford is a returning agent to Samson. Joshua Williams and Kate Bukowski, both from Pearson Smith Realty. Kathleen O'Donnell from Century 21 Redwood.
She's coming back to us, Kathy O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
No. Oh, yes, she is returning, yes. It threw me off because it said Kathleen
and not Kathleen,
Kathy.
I know.
Kathy O'Donnell is coming back. She was with us a few years ago. Kirsten Stovall from Realty Connect, and Kyle Simmons from Remax United.
So we have Lauren Waldron, who's a new agent, Logan Edmiston from Coldwell Banker, Noel.
Is Noel here? Nope.
No, okay. Noel Morgan.
Join this office,
Charlestown. Yeah, I just saw that.
Used to be
with
Bob
Exit Success.
At Exit, right?
Lori Krause from Pearson Smith, Michaela Brent from Taylor Properties, Mark Brumbaugh is a new agent, Marcus Smith with One Street, Matajba Akwand is a new agent, Noemi Costello is from EXP, and Peter Upong Corintang is a new agent. Welcome, you guys.
Priscilla Quander from Coldwell Banker. Richard Oswa Ansah from Weichert Realty. Realtors, Renette Harrison Rollins is a new agent. Ruchi Jayan from Remax Town Center. Saba Al-Asfar from KW Metro Center. Samer. So Samer is the owner of One Street Company. So there's Samer Qureshi from One Street Company. Sandra Francis from EXP. Sarah Virgin is a transfer, I'm not sure from where. Sunil Chabra from One Street Company, who's actually Samer's partner in a lot of things. And Silbert Blackwood from Cadewood Spring Realty.
We've got Tierra Satchel from EXP, Tracy Ventura from Inactive to Active, Trevor Williams from Realty One, Vaughn Brown from Flagship Realty, Vincent Quinteros from North Real Estate, William Stokes from Lifelong Realty, and Zach Yelton from One Street. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, to our Samson family.
Yes.
All of you wonderful agents, and we really just, you notice next to them about 80% of these people, 75% were referred by a Samson Properties realtor, and we just can't thank you all enough for that, for continuing to spread that. It's a fun place to join, and we'll take good care of you when you come.
And we love that. We have good peeps. We have good family. We want our family to recommend our family. Yes, good peeps.
So continue to do that, and I thank you so much for all those referrals. Then I lost my train of thought there. The next thing we have here is orientation. So if you were on that list, or if you were newer to Samson, or you just want to
find out what the heck's going on now.
What is all going on? We do these orientations all over the place, almost every day it seems like across our footprint. So next week on Monday we're in Lake Ridge, Tuesday in White Marsh and Fredericksburg, Thursday Chantilly. That's going to be we're going to go for it at the new office, huh? Thursday in Chantilly, Thursday in National Harbor. All next week. So you can see
y'all are brave
these
people.
Are always on the calendar. Why did I hesitate on the new office? Good as time as any to talk about
We have had so much fun. Can I just tell y'all how much crap we have? Holy moly. We've had a great time and a very just kudos to the staff, kudos to our moving team and our movers for trying everything they can to get us up and running as quickly as possible and unpack all the things and get our staff back running. Of course, with moving, there's always best laid plans. So we had a few days of connectivity issues, and we still have a few phone issues, but we're working through all those, and most people are up and running. Beautiful new
space. I think
space.
just about everybody's up and running. I would say if you're going to visit the Chantilly space, it's not going to look as pretty as it's going to look.
Yes.
The main issue we have, I guess, right now is, and it's not an issue for everybody outside trying to connect with us as much as there's about 12 or 14 offices that were created from scratch. They were just open areas. The problem is they didn't have lights for all those yet. A couple of them don't have doors.
So Donnie and I may or may not be working illegally out of our offices.
So technically, you can walk in an office and work without lights, right? If it's nice out. The problem is that technically the fire marshal doesn't approve that you can work in there with electricity until you have approved lights.
We have a renovation in place.
So you can move your furniture in, but you're not supposed to work. So we were in conference rooms and I had my conference. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to sit in my office. So my computer may be in the office illegally, but
look, mine's a laptop. I can take mine with me whenever I go. So as soon as that fire marshal comes, I'm grabbing it and running.
So hopefully we'll get a heads up when they come back to check.
Yeah, we just don't have ceilings.
They're not coming back to check until all the lights are in. Well, they don't finish the ceiling because they're still going to put lights in, right?
And there may or may not be some cables hanging.
So it's totally safe.
Totally safe.
But
we
for
won't
the
be
most part,
electrocuted. We
we are
see.
cleaning up the studio.
Yeah.
That's the big thing that Justin and Zach are working on here
They're
in the next
working
couple
on our
days.
new print center this week.
And
yes.
the print center, I guess they were actually getting the electricity put in today. So hopefully the new print center will be up here within a couple days at the new office. So everybody is actively up and working, accounting, Sky Slope, all of your staff. They just might not be in their permanent office yet because they might be out at a cubby or in a conference room.
Yes.
Until their office technically has lights and is allowed to be worked in.
And
so that's where we're at currently if people are up and down. So, and I say this, look, I know Sarah's email said agents kind of hold off till the 1st, and today's the 1st. You can come by and look around. We're functioning as normal, but don't expect it to be 100% perfect quite yet.
And I would also add to that, because we have all of those spaces that are still under construction, our staff is taking over the conference rooms and all the spaces that you may think you want to come in and meet with a client. We don't really have that right now, just because our staff's in there. So make sure that I had several people show up, even though I sent numerous emails saying, please don't come to Chantilly. I had several people show up with clients in tow while we were still under construction saying, where am I supposed to meet with my clients? So just keep in mind, look at the emails. We're going to let you know when it's all good, free, and clear.
Now, I'm calling an audible they don't know about here. But if you do show up, we don't have a place for you to meet with your clients. One of the huge benefits of our move is that our beautiful friends, Cardinal Title Group, is in the same building on the 4th floor. So Carrie and Reed are over here, and I'm sure we can walk down and we can find a conference room if we need to. Fridays might be a little tougher because we have lots of closings typically, but they got 3 or 4 great rooms down there. Worst case scenario, we can walk down the floor and probably find a place for you to meet your clients. But
and what you don't know, and Carrie and Reed probably don't know, is that's where I send everybody. I'm like, just walk down and ask them if you can borrow a conference room.
Carrie and Reed are like, we wonder why agents.
We wonder why all these people are in here.
It's like, where they have a really nice conference room. Just walk down on one floor.
Just walk downstairs. Yes.
But it is great to be back in the same building as Cardinal. It's going to continue to build that great synergy again.
And please make sure that if you do come and you drop EMDs or commission checks, that you just don't lay them on a random desk and walk out thinking they've been delivered. I have found a couple just laying around. That I've picked up that agents just walked in and laid down thinking somebody would pick them up, and thankfully I did. But we would really love to make sure that you connect with either Sritha in the accounting department or Monica, the receptionist, so that you do a physical handoff.
Yes, but we do have receptionists. Everybody's up and going. It's going to get cleaner and better.
It's going to be great, and we're going to have an open house and invite all you peeps to come see.
And I'll get to that schedule here in a second. So today we're going to do a lunch and learn 12 to 2:30 in Charlestown. So if you have a friend, text them, tell them to come by. We have got a good group coming, but we can always feed more and tell them all about the great things Samson has to offer. Next week, we're going to be in our White Marsh office. So we're excited to do our Maryland, D.C. Emphasis sales meeting in the White Marsh office next Wednesday, the 8th. Afterwards, it's got a new place to us, but it looks really nice. Liberatories in Perry Hall. It's kind of right between White Marsh and Bel Air offices. So we'll be at Liberatories in Perry Hall for lunch and learn next week.
The street is Honeygo.
Honeygo, is that what it is?
That was what Honeygo. That's a neat little street.
Sounds like a good place to put it.
It sounds like a good place. Right? Honeygo, yes.
We did call an audible on the next sales meeting. Our next company-wide sales meeting was going to be hopefully in Chantilly.
It is now not going to be.
It is not going to be. I do not know if the studio will be in great shape yet.
We are supposed to have lights in the next 10 days. That's our plan. So we're going to just give us a month.
So we've moved this to our Arlington office. So we'll be in Arlington office in 2 weeks for our sales meeting, 10 to 11:45. We also have upcoming lunch and learns at Maggiano's and Tyson's on the 16th. So Thursday, February 16th. No, that's international.
That's international.
Sorry, the next week's Maggiano's.
Yep.
International Country Club on the 16th. The next week we have Maggiano's in D.C. on the 22nd. So I'll be in D.C. Maggiano's. And then, what did I do?
And then you have
I somehow hit
You went backwards.
I hit the reset to the beginning of the slideshow button.
Oh, wow. There's a button that says
I didn't know
reset?
that was a button. That's not a good one I should press, though.
But that's awesome. So you sit there and press it at the beginning to get it back 42 slides.
22nd was Maggiano's.
Yes.
And then 28th, we're going to Tyson's Maggiano's.
Yes, there you go.
And then this is going to be where we do our grand opening. March 1st is our goal. Justin, you think we're going to be okay with that? I didn't actually confirm with Justin yesterday.
Justin says
but
sure.
I felt like he was like, good, give me a date, I'll make it happen. So March 1st, we have a month from today, 4 weeks. We'll do our sales meeting in our brand new space. We're going to follow it with a grand opening party so everybody can come by, see the place. If you're in the area, we'd love to show it to you. You can come by before then, but this is kind of be the formal event that we invite everybody to. And then for your Maryland folks, my man Carl out there was talking buoy sales meeting March 8th is our goal, and then afterwards we're going to do the Blue Dolphin for our lunch and learn after that.
Nice name.
And
Blue
Stafford office March 15th with the Augustine Golf Club afterwards. That goes kind of our March and April schedule. Oh, I have one more. This is a fun one for me. One Loudon. Eddie Merlot's, I'm excited about. It was, I may be trying to get in there next week for Valentine's Day. Don't nobody tell Meredith. But so Eddie Merlot's the place in One Loudon I really like. So we're going to do lunch and learn there. So that is all of our February and March schedule. So, well, it's mostly we get these things. It's funny because, you know, people are like, hey, when do you come in and this and that? And then, you know, I tell people like a week or two before, but it's like, well, if I know 2 months before, I might as well let everybody know. So these are all on the calendar. They're on joinsamson.com, and you can certainly invite any friends too if there's something that's getting near the area where you're watching right now. I'm going to do one more announcement on an upcoming event, and then we're going to invite our new friends from Cardinal Title Group up to talk to us. So our Samson Awards show, February 24th, Friday the 24th. We will have a live person event, but we can only get about 125 or so in the room. Those invites have not gone out yet. We're still finalizing awards. Probably give us a week or so, then you'll start to see emails if we can get you in person. If you do not get one in person, we would love to. We'll still let you know you're going to get an award, but we're going to live stream it to everybody in the network on the Cardinal Nest. We were going to organize some watch parties at a lot of the offices where, you know, our great agent service specialists will organize, you know, everybody get together, watch on the big TVs, and, you know, talk and have some food together. So.
And Lynn's got a watch party going this morning.
Lynn does have a watch. Yes, Lake Ridge, right?
Yeah, Lake Ridge.
So shout out to Lynn Hamilton, the crew in Lake Ridge. Hello to everybody. So we're going to do a watch party for the Samson Awards show all over, but we'll have about 125 people live in person. We're going to give out awards for the last year. So we're excited about that. Hopefully everybody got their stuff in. We just cannot take any more late entries on new constructions at this point. Yes. I made the mistake last sales meeting of saying,
he did.
You've got to get it in today. And then I asked Austin yesterday. He goes, yeah, people are still sending them. It's like 2 weeks later. I was like, all right, we gotta stop.
It's off. Don't
we can never say who the top people are if we keep adding stuff in every day. So we are going to finalize those things. So
and just for next
we'll have
year,
our award show the 24th.
Logistically for next year, make sure Bright only gives us that 30-day window. So if you do new constructions, make sure you put it in for a comp within the 30 days because next year we are not going to take all of the. There's just too many of y'all and too many new constructions. We are not going to take all that new construction. If it's not in Bright, we're not taking it for these awards.
Sometimes the South hits hard on Sarah.
What?
We just can't take y'all. You know, the y'all,
Did I say y'all?
It hits hard sometimes. It jumps out at you.
Yeah. So make sure you put in, back on track, put in those new constructions.
We just can't take y'all's deals.
Put in, there's just lots coming in. So new constructions and off-market deals, make sure you put them in Bright as comps within 30 days.
Yes, that was the issue this year, is that normally they'll let you catch up for the whole year, but
they didn't this year.
At some point during the year, they made a 30-day rule, so be on top of that now. Don't hold those new constructions till June and July or December when you want credit for them, because they won't let them in. With that, we're going to invite up our new friends.
Come on
up,
Cardinal
all of our
Title.
Microphones, probably.
I got them right here.
All right. So,
old people too?
You're allowed.
Yes. New friends. Well, first we can have our old friends.
Yes,
Ms.
and everybody
Carrie Lindsay
needs
and Reed Hubbard.
to wish Reed a happy birthday. Yesterday was his birthday.
Yes, 29 years old yesterday.
29 and holding.
Birthday buddy over there too.
Yeah, he has a birthday twin.
Oh, birthday buddies, birthday twins.
Thank you.
How old are you, Reed?
Don't worry
You
about
don't have
it.
to tell me.
29
I
and
actually
holding,
know
friends.
how old he is, but I'm going to keep it
29
to
and
myself.
holding. Yes.
But no, happy birthday to you,
Thank
Reed.
you. Thank you.
You
So
had
go
cute
ahead,
pictures
Karen
all over
Reed.
Facebook,
How
you
we
and the
doing?
baby.
Say what?
I said you had all kinds of cute little pictures with you and the baby on
Did
Facebook.
I? I'm not even on Facebook.
I
so
know.
Reed's not on
that's-
Facebook.
It was your
that seems
mother-in-law.
weird. Yeah. She takes care of the social media.
It was your mother-in-law. Yes.
Yep. God bless her.
Is it better not to know, like if you're not on Facebook, like
They were
just,
good pictures.
Do you like to know if stuff happens, or are you just like, this is just a part of the world?
That's kind of why I'm not on Facebook. So
Yeah,
I
just-
prefer
That's hilarious.
Just not to know.
She
blissful
tagged you?
ignorance. Good. I'm not sure.
She
which-
tagged her?
Yeah.
She tagged a non-existent Facebook account?
I don't
I don't know
know.
how.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about right now, Sarah.
Yeah.
She's got
So-
skills.
All right.
It was
All right.
tagged.
Back
It was
on
funny.
track. Carrie and Reed, how are we doing?
Hey, great. Good morning.
Good.
Carrie's in her
thanks.
favorite place.
I am.
Her home state.
Carrie loves
I
West Virginia.
Yeah, this might be my favorite office now. I'm a West Virginian.
Don't tell
I
everybody
love
else.
being here. When I just feel like I can really breathe deeply when I drive over the mountain and I'm back in West Virginia. And we have two.
The sun does always shine when I come over that mountain.
Right?
Every single
Every
I'm like
single time.
15 for 15 coming over that mountain.
Yes.
20 for 20.
Yeah.
And I said it last night. I was leaving Chantilly. It was like, we'll see you all in Charles every single time. And I'm coming over the mountain. Beautiful sun. It was rainy yesterday, snow. So I think I just need to come every day. They'll have beautiful weather.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Please do.
I interrupted.
You'll probably
Sarah
have,
said, please do. Get
you'll
out of
probably have a door
Chantilly.
here.
Well, we are super excited that we have a West Virginia law firm and we have two excellent people who I invite to come up here.
Come on up.
Come on up, ladies.
Jessica and Katie.
They actually said they want to run the rest of the meeting. They want to take the mics and
Yeah,
Take-
that's the
take-
plan. Yeah.
That's-
Surprise.
Absolutely
That's their
not.
nightmare.
they were really super thrilled for being on camera today.
Yes.
Well, we are super thrilled to have them. They come to us with tons of experience, and I honestly feel like we hit the jackpot when we
Yes.
hired both of them. They are just terrific. They have loads of experience. You're going to love having them in the office, and I cannot think of enough great things to say about both of them. We are thrilled to welcome them to our team and to really anchor our West Virginia operations.
Fantastic.
So,
Welcome, ladies.
so you got to say hi, give them the mic, got to put Jessica on the spot. So Jessica Springs, our attorney.
Yes.
Welcome, Jessica.
Yeah, I'm Jessica. I live in the Eastern Panhandle. I've been practicing here for a little over 10 years. And I'm really excited to be with Cardinal. I've enjoyed my time so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing.
There you go.
Do you wanna talk?
And your sister here, Miss Katie.
My name's Katie. I also live in the Eastern Panhandle, and I will be your main point of contact for processing and all of that. And then, of course, Jessica will oversee everything. So we're super stoked to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they've hit the ground running. We have lots of contracts already. Yeah, I think.
I'm warning y'all,
You
Maryland.
guys are awesome.
West
Yes.
Virginia almost caught you. Their first full week, we got like 8 in the first week, which is awesome. So thank you all to not only
I think we should do like a little competition between
Yeah.
like Maryland and West Virginia.
Yeah,
What do
me
y'all
too.
think?
down
Like,
already.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then, first of all, thank you to all the agents
Yeah.
that reached
Yes.
out and said how great Jessica and Katie were, and obviously, we took those recommendations, and from the second we all met them, we knew that they were great, and it was just a matter of hopefully we could get them on our team. But also that just the first week support, fantastic. So now you set a high bar, so you guys got to keep that up every week. But great first week. We got you busy from the first week, which was awesome.
Yeah, so you'll see we have all their contact information up there. Like Carrie said, this is all through the law firm Cardinal Title P LLC, which is technically separate from Cardinal Title Group. So contracts go to this email address. It's contracts at Cardinal Title P LLC. We have a separate website that we'll share with everyone as well, but just keep in mind that all the contact information can be through Jessica and or Katie or me.
And it'll be on the Cardinal Nest. All the information is
That's
on the
already up,
Cardinal
yep.
Nest, and it has the West Virginia instructions on there as well. So you just need to, and again, it's where the property is. So if the property's in West Virginia, the contracts go to the West Virginia address. If the property's in Maryland, et cetera, it goes to those other addresses.
If there are any questions or anything, don't hesitate just to reach out to me directly and we can get you all taken care of.
We're off to such a great start. Thank you, everybody who's trusting us with your contracts. We are just hit the ground running. We've got more contracts this week, and we're just thrilled. We have a great team here, and I can promise you, you're going to be really happy with how we're going to do business here. So thank you all for trusting us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And,
Nice job, everybody.
any questions or thoughts or anything from the crowd on Jessica or Katie before we let them not be in the spotlight anymore?
She goes, get me out of front of this spotlight.
Anything to add, Miss Lindsay? Mr. Hubbard?
We didn't point out Van and Mike last week in
Oh.
Gainesville. They are both excellent. Van is one of our most experienced processors.
I love Van, and she makes great cakes.
She does.
And Mike he crushes it at the settlement table. We have such a good team there. And I just didn't mention them last week when we were in Gainesville, so I just wanted to catch up with that too.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thank
very
you, everybody.
much. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica and Katie.
Do we have any holiday coming up? Anything we need to pay attention to?
President's Day coming up. Yeah, President's Day we're going to have coming up. Thank you, Sarah.
Not your first rodeo, Miss Lindsay.
Are there any in February? President's Day is like
Yeah.
next week. Right?
Yes.
Wait a
Is it
minute.
a week from
No,
now?
Couple weeks.
No,
couple
it's like
weeks.
2
Yeah,
weeks.
Yeah.
So President's Day is the only holiday.
Yeah, that's the only holiday we have coming up. So the courthouse
All
will
right,
be closed
awesome.
that Monday.
Courthouse is closed on that Monday, the President's Day. I think
I'm
that's
sure
it for
all
a
of
little
you
while.
are going to be running full speed to do a closing on Monday of President's Day.
Yes.
Yes.
But yes, it is
So-
closed.
So you get,
Yeah.
and this time
Harry,
of
you
year,
don't have to worry about that though.
No, what?
West Virginia.
They
You don't
keep it open?
record. Yeah, well, you don't
Oh.
record first.
Oh.
So not
there you
as big
go.
of an issue here. Virginia, obviously, it's more of an issue. So you want to be
And
careful the
Maryland
Friday
is-
You
before.
people in
Yeah.
West Virginia do things just a little bit differently.
We're just smarter. We have good ways to
You're
do stuff.
smarter.
We're just
I love it.
smarter.
Yeah,
Yes.
West Virginia's
That's exactly
responsible.
what I was thinking.
Go Hokies.
Oh.
So I laughed because Carrie and I might have a little rivalry going between West Virginia and Virginia Tech, and I laughed because Riley was going through boxes and she found this very large Hokie bird and very large VT magnets. And she's like, "What do you want me to do with these?" I'm like, "Save them. They may show up.
Oh,
they may show up in
no.
Carrie's office at some point."
Oh no! Oh God! Well, yeah,
A
that's
Hokie's
what
a
they
Hokie.
say. I mean,
It's just a
my
Southern
son goes
crazy
there,
name.
so
Yes. She has to like him a little bit.
I send
Yeah.
tuition there, so I do support them in that way. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
She's not a hater.
No.
She's just a lover of the Mountaineers.
Yes. Lover of the Mountaineers for sure.
Yes. Anybody in West Virginia probably supports their.
That's
their
how we do
teams.
it.
Yes,
That's right.
That's right. Well, thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Do you want me to take that? Oh, all right. That's fine.
And as always, obviously, as the market picks up, and we'll talk more about that. We need all that as much support as we can for our great team at Cardinal Title Group. We've got a great team now in West Virginia, Maryland, D.C. We've got great crew and great staff. Be able to help you all at all times. And if you have any questions, obviously, Reed and Carrie are here that help oversee the whole show, and they can help answer those and make sure we get to the right spot. So I went through. I wanted to get
Do you want to do first?
our
years,
lovely
too?
ladies going. Not this second.
Okay.
So just want to remind everybody about SamsonPrint.net. And that print center's up and going. I heard a rumor it might have been down for a second yesterday, but if you get something like that, just let us know. We'll make sure everything's running smoothly. I think we're back on track here. But SamsonPrint.net is available. Easy to change things. But if you have questions, Melissa Walsh is the best contact here. MWalsh at SamsonProperties.net, who's overseeing the whole print center.
Yep, and on the Cardinal Nest, on the Print Center tab on the left nav bar, there are videos on how to use it. There's contact information if you forget her name and email. There's contact information there, and there's how-to videos, short little snippets, and there's all kinds of explanations on there for you as well. Super easy to use, and we've gotten some great feedback on it.
Yes. Is Mirella here? Mirella?
She is.
I thought that was you. I was just making
She
sure.
has a shirt that says home loans. I'm sure that's her.
Mirella, come on up.
Come on up.
Say hi to everybody. Our first Arizona officer. I think we met once before, but she threw me off a little bit, so sorry about that. How you doing, Mirella?
You
Good.
can grab a mic right there.
Yes, there you go. Home loans should have been the giveaway, right?
I did. It was my giveaway.
I was like, I think that's her. I'm looking at the picture, but I don't want to assume. Then I look at you like, Mirella? And she's like, oh, I'm not Mirella. So welcome for our first year's loan officer in the house here. So just a quick little bit about Mirella. Born in Bulgaria, moved to the U.S. when you were 10 years old. Exciting, grew up in Rockville. You love to travel and experience different cultures. Enjoy spending time with your family, friends, hiking, camping, painting, and baking. And you love Samson because it's been welcoming. Enjoy meeting with new people. So you are Gaithersburg on Fridays and then down Charlestown on Wednesdays. Is that your typical schedule now? Awesome. So you've had a chance to meet a lot of these lovely people already, or you will in the future, correct?
I will in the future yet. So this is my first week.
Awesome.
Here.
Well,
So I'm excited to be here.
hello to everybody from Mirella.
Yes.
So talk to me. You had a West Virginia housing, I guess a newer home buyer program. I think you were going to update us on, right?
Yeah. So this is one of the many.
Is she on
programs
camera?
that we have.
Can you come? Oh, okay. There you go. How about now?
No. Okay. Maybe this one.
There you go.
There
Step
you
a
go.
little closer to the TV. There you go.
Okay, so this is one of the many different financing options that First Heritage offers. And being in West Virginia, I figured it's going to be a good program to talk about. So this is one of the state programs in West Virginia, which provides mortgage financing for low to moderate income families. And then if we can go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry. It's messing with me.
You have one job right now, Donnie.
I
One
do.
job.
And it's not. Oh,
There we go.
Let me
It
just
went. Nope.
Grab it.
There we
there you
go.
go. Like a well-oiled machine up here.
Yeah, we are.
I'll just go up the slides up there. So this is one of their options that they have, which is the most popular program. It's for the home ownership program, and it's for first-time home buyers only. And they go up to 100% financing, which is amazing for anybody, again, low to moderate income families that are looking to go to as little money as possible to settlement.
Is that now true first home buyers, or they can't have owned a home for the last 3 years, or is there any kind of funky definition of first time home buyer?
So usually, like, you can't have owned anything for the past 3 years, owned and occupied a property for 3 years. So this is just for the first-time home buyers. Yeah, and they do provide a down payment assistance loans.
100% financing. That.
Nice.
How about that? I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the down payment assistance options. So they get up to $7,500 for LTV, which is 10% or less down payment. Or they can get up to $10,000 if they're putting more than 10% down payment, which is awesome. And those money, actually, they do need to be repaid back, and they have to pay it back within 15 years at a 2% interest. So definitely want to make sure that your clients are aware of that. And they do have to occupy the property as their primary residence for the first 5 years, otherwise they can be penalized. They do have to meet the county income and purchase price limits. So you want to make sure if you're working with a loan officer that they're checking the income limits and the purchase price limits. And then they do have to occupy it as their primary residence, and this is for most of the property types, including new construction. And prior to settlement, they will have to complete a home buyer's education course, which is usually done online and free of charge.
But that one does have to be paid back.
If you take the down payment assistance.
This down payment assistance, you do have to pay that down.
Correct. That money has to be repaid back.
Or you could do 100% financing, right?
Yeah. So this is for the Moving Up program.
Moving on up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So this is one of the other programs that they have.
Nobody sees Moving Up and thinks that right away.
The Jeffersons, I love it.
I mean, I wasn't really old enough
I'll
to
just
know
stop.
the
You had it. You had it better when you just sang it. Yeah.
And this is for existing or first-time home buyers, which is great. So
Meryl,
even
that
if
was a show before we were old enough. It was just Sarah. Go ahead.
So this is a great program for anybody, even if they own a house, but they don't have that much money saved up, so they can still qualify for a down payment assistance loan. Same thing as the homeowners program. That one, you still get the money, but as you can see, it's slightly lower. So if you're putting 10% down or less, it's $5,000, or if they're putting more than 10% down payment is $8,000. And same thing, that money has to be repaid back within those 15 years with a 2% interest. And they do have slightly different income limits. They have to meet the statewide limits, which I'll show on the other page. But they do have, it does require mortgage insurance. It's on single family homes, townhomes, condos, units in approved plans. And they also do unit developments and new construction. And same as the other program, they do have to complete the home buyer's education class.
I think that was the last slide we had on that one.
I
don't know.
No, there should be.
No, we don't have another one.
I do not have another one. What? I can look at you again. There's the story
no,
about you.
Well, hold on. I'm glad I have.
She says, "Let me pull my notes."
Yeah, but let me pull my notes because I was supposed to have like 3 or 4 more slides with the income limits and.
I think we could. What I would probably say is this: if you have that these programs are available, my whole thing is this. Look, we're not going to remember every single detail that's up here. You can have this much or this much or this income limit. You know, we could go all through this. But my overall goal would be, look, get with the loan officer, get with Meryl and say, look,
what are my options?
I've got these buyers. What are their options? Because you know how much they make. You can then look at their credit scores. You can look at what their past history of home ownership was. Have they never owned a home? If they owned it 2 years ago, 5 years ago, it's going to move up. Do you qualify for this? But because we have these great programs, the key here is announcing that there's programs like this that exist. You know, every little detail we're not going to jot down, but get it to a loan officer, get options out there, and do it early. You know, don't go, you know, even if you meet somebody and say, I'm going to rent. Well, let's just meet first. Let's see. Because right now, it might be great to get into a program and get in down payment assistance. You get in less than it is to go pay, 2 months rent, to get into a place and start to build that equity. So, get with your loan officer. Zero down or down payment assistance programs are back, and they can help. And nowadays, we can get those first-time home buyers in that have little money down. So that would be my overall summary. Is there any key points that you wanted to add? I mean, other than just numbers that nobody's going to remember, probably?
Yeah, so they do have also the Move Up Special program, which is for existing or first-time home buyers whose qualifying income is at the at or below 80% of the area median income. And that one is awesome because then you can get reduced mortgage insurance and the interest rates are slightly lower for those.
So the move up special just adds an element
Yes.
that basically you can get reduced mortgage insurance if your income isn't over the 80% number. So
Yeah.
that's good stuff. So there are so many different permutations off this. It's good to see programs like this that are back.
Yes.
They're hoping to get it in. They've made it harder on the investors and the people that are coming in with all the money trying to buy up all the homes. They want the first-time home buyers or the lower money down buyers to have a better chance. So I think that the best advice I can give is, look, get with your loan officer, sit down, get your buyer with them early in the process. The biggest mistakes we can make sometimes are showing people houses until we know what they can afford, what they feel comfortable with. Then they fall in love with it. Oh, it's only $300,000, I can afford it. Well, then they come back and go, I can't afford that, or I don't like this payment, or get them with the loan officer early, look at all the different options so you have all those tools in your tool belt ready to go.
And you'll be surprised how often people come like right when they're ready to submit that offer. And I always tell everybody it's never too early to get pre-approved. Even if your client is planning to buy within the next year, get him pre-approved, get him with your loan officer because we can review income, assets, we can figure out what programs they qualify for. If they have credit issues, I can run credit analyzers, give them a credit
that's
plan.
huge. And
so
nobody's immune to it because, even I had a client a couple years ago, where it was my attorney. I had sold him 3 or 4 houses. He called me and he says, hey, we're moving and we're going to do this and we want to be out here and we want this space. And so I'm like, oh, well, I've sold him other houses before. He's my attorney. What did I do? I'm like, let's go. And I put him in the car.
You shouldn't have done that.
I should not have done that because what happened was when we pulled his credit, he had a rolling
you shouldn't tell people secrets.
rolling late. And his credit score had been tanked like 200 points. And we ended up subprime loan on a very large payment or a very large home purchase price. And he was fine with it because, he made the cash, but his whole philosophy of life was, I don't want to make that payment. I'm just going to let him repo it. So he had some credit dings that I wasn't quite
Hey, do not take
with.
the advice of Sarah's attorney ever.
So-
Also remind me to get a different attorney.
Oh, he's a
than Sarah.
fantastic attorney. He is a fantastic attorney.
All right.
But what I'll say to you
I'll
is,
take your word for it.
but what I will say to you
It's
is,
got questionable skill.
I got a lot of friends.
questionable judgment.
I got a lot of friends in a lot of places. But here's the thing, though. We can't take for granted that just because they've been a client of ours before or we know them well or they have a great income or they have a great profession that they're credit worthy, right, and ready to buy. So make sure you don't make that mistake.
But overall, rates are really, they're settling down more and more, it seems like.
Yeah.
I was reading just yesterday we're at the lowest rates since October and September of last year. We've hit back to those points. So we're not obviously down to the 2s and 3s, but down to a really good spot and more than a percent less than where we kind of were at our peak. So we've already kind of settled. We're getting stuff in the 5.5s and high 5s.
We're actually expecting for interest rates to continue to go down as the spring market approaches. So if you have anybody who was maybe pre-approved a couple of months ago, maybe it's time to get with their loan officer, get your pre-approval updated. That's what I'm doing for all my clients right now. Even some of my clients that I pre-approved about a month ago, interest rates for those people are already about 0.5% lower. So people want to see that.
More buying power,
rates are
less
going to continue
payment.
to go down. Get your buyers in the position where they're ready to go when they do find that right home for them.
And I hate to beat a dead horse, but we still have great options out there, even if these rates are a touch higher for them to feel comfortable. But they're still good. The 2-1 buy downs are a great option. The ARM loans are still a great option because if you think, hey, they're going to get better in a year or 2 years. Well, then 2-1 buy downs and getting in early and knowing that within 2 years I can refinance it, or an ARM product that locks me in at that lower rate now. Those are still really good options to make it even more affordable. But now that our 30-year fixed and the regular rates are getting down, they might not need to do those things. But you say, well, they're going to get better in the spring. But I would make a strong argument for this. Okay, great. Rates are going to get down even a 0.5 point more, which maybe it goes even more. But a 0.5 point more. But all of a sudden it becomes more competitive in that marketplace and you're bidding with other buyers, paying 20, 30 grand more for the same house. I'd rather have the house now. I can always work on the rate over time, but I can't change the purchase price of my house. And it's going to get more and more competitive. So if you got buyers that are ready to go, get them out there now and try to get those purchases because I'm seeing really positive momentum that I think will make it harder to get those houses in March, April, May, as these rates get better.
program where if anybody is buying with us at the current interest rates, then later on when it's time to refinance, we are going to be waiving all of our fees. So no processing or underwriting fees for those people to save them some money.
Oh, that's
and an
fantastic.
interesting fact on the 2-1 buy down program, the money that they're getting to be able to lock in into this program, it goes into an escrow account. So meaning if they were to refinance within those first 2 years, the money that's left over into their escrow account, when we refinance them, we're going to apply it towards their principal balance. So they never lose the money that they received, and they just get a lower interest rate.
You get a lower interest rate, and you get your money back in the escrow account, and they're waiving their fees. That's a win.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So play that out in real world. Say it's at 5 3/4 rate now. You do 2-1 buy down. Okay, great. It's 3 3/4 for the first year, 4 3/4 for the second year. Well, if at some point rates get down to 4.5 and 5, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to refinance this, and something locks in. Well, great. All that $15,000 that the seller paid to buy that down, you can put that 7 or 8, 10 grand, whatever's left, back into it to help you refinance to that 4.5% long term. So it helps the ease of payment in now, and gives you 2 years to play that market and refi for free. So it's a win-win. So get those buyers out there. I think the buyers are actually starting to come out. And I'm going to ask for input on this in a second. I think the real issue is we need the sellers to put the for sale signs in the yard so we have something to buy. But that's what we hope is coming back more. So any questions for Mariella before we let her bid adieu?
And I will be around all day if you don't
There
have
you
any
go.
questions
There
at the
you go.
moment.
So grab her. She's got the
and I have
home
some
loan t-shirt on
flyers
if you
as
need her.
well. I brought some flyers on the West Virginia housing program. I'll leave them out. And also, I did bring another flyer to learn a little bit more about First Heritage Mortgage and the financing that we offer through our company as well. So.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, thank you
Thank
very much. It
you.
was nice
Thank
seeing you.
you.
Take care. Which pocket is my? There it is.
There you go.
Zach, you're hiding it. Stop doing that, Zach. All right, we just
Oh,
want
we
to say
talked
hi
about
to our
that.
friend.
Yeah, hello, Lake
Lynn
Ridge.
Hamilton and our crew in Lake Ridge. We want to talk about Lynn's coaching thing she has currently going on. So she's got
several groups going on right now.
She's got one. We're talking about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's the challenges: 5 calls a day, 4 texts, 3 emails, 2 contacts added to CRM, and 1 CMA.
And that is to kick off your 2023 activity with a tracking
and that's
sheet.
simple. You
It
think,
is.
you always say, I got to do all these things. You're going to do these big things. But, if you simplify it down to this, you can do all this in an hour, right? And if you focus an hour, you're going to see the results. All of a sudden, you times that by 5 and by 10 and by 15. I know my man Adam over here is super successful. Every time I see him, he's like, I made this many calls today, this many calls. Look, I talk about this all the time, and sometimes my sayings, they bore Sarah because she has to listen to them all the time. But the business doesn't just fall from the sky, guys. You have to connect with people. You have to do something. The calls, the texts, the emails, the check-ins, all these things add up to something. So this worksheet is on the Nest, and it's a good thing to get if you say, I need accountability, I need a checklist. If you're one of those people that's like, I need a checklist, good. Add this. Fill in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 every day, and then go to the next day, and you're going to see that fruit over
And
time.
I would even say, as a newer agent or someone getting back in, and you say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, we wrote it down for you, and we told you. And then when you look at it, then check it off and do it, because at the end of the day, what you'll find is that repeated, consistent activity generates results. And if you start looking at, I have to do all these things, right? That's why to-do lists are so effective. I have to do these things. I have to check them off, and I have to mark them off. If you look at it and you say, I haven't done any of this today, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, well, I haven't done any of this today either. I'm not going to do it tomorrow. You're not going to have any business. So this helps you stay on track. And if you are a high dominant personality where you like to do what you like to do and don't like to do what you don't like to do, this will help. No real estate agents in this room are high dominant personality types at all, right? This will help you look at it and go, a little bit of guilt, a little bit of accountability. I need to stay on track. I need to do something to generate different results. So keep in mind with that. We also have a Q4 challenge that the agents are working on. So they're doing that right now.
This is the news flash. People that...
Yes, news flash.
You said Q4 challenge we're working on. I'm correcting you. This is a results-based slide.
The results-based slide.
So we had our fourth quarter challenge, so we kept pushing every week, and everybody was jumping in with Lynn.
So this was your October, November, December activity that Lynn was running and giving you these sheets every day.
So Lynn checked back with people and said, okay, how's it going? And we're already working with 40 new clients as a direct result of the work they've done during that time period. So just less than a month later, and we had 40 new clients we could directly point to that we were doing business with.
Would anyone like 40 new clients?
I would like.
Get in the group.
I would like 40 new clients.
Yes. She's currently got a new workshop going on right now.
The new thing going on.
Yep, the new thing right now is that she is teaching you hands-on how to develop business through open houses and how to do them effectively. And it's not just, and many agents still do this, so forgive me if I offend you. I'm not sorry. Let's just put it in the MLS and I'll show up. How many people have ever heard, well, they'll just put it in the MLS and then that's all you do. Well, there are things that you can do to make your open houses really effective. You can invite people to come. Well, who do you invite? How do you get them there? How do you track them? How do you create lists to track these people? And what do you do with them once you get them? How do you do a successful open house? How do you schedule it? When do you schedule it? What do you say? What's your messaging? So Lynn is taking you through an 8-series workshop of all the things, right? All the things. First-time home. Oh, I said open house. I said open house. But first-time home buyers, who to invite to these things, how to schedule them, what the messaging needs to be, what the consistency needs to be able to help move them through the client cycle to be able to generate
So the
business.
First class is already up on the Nest.
I did say open house.
If you want to catch up with the first class, it's on
Yes.
the Nest now.
And they're in person. She requires you to come in person.
Then there's an 8-week edition onto there. And then,
Yes.
look, guys, sometimes the work and attending the stuff is hard, and watching the videos is hard. But building your business and building the accountability and building the mechanics of what you're going to do every day builds you for a career of success. And sometimes you just need to get back on track. And we're hearing everybody that's jumping in and joining the classes, doing the things consistently. We say it all the time, but the number one trait of all successful realtors is consistency. And that's the hardest thing. We're so up and down. It's because we don't build plans, stick to plans, and do plans, and then we become more successful.
So Lynn has already launched this, but there is an interest video or training video online. If you want to jump in, you still can, but you need to reach out to her and contact her directly so that she can put you in through the queue. This is not recorded. This is live, interactive, face-to-face, voice-to-voice, body-to-body workshops, right?
Voice-to-voice, body-to-body.
Body-to-body. Energy. Energy, friends. You don't get energy over the computer.
I've never quite heard that one.
Well, yeah, I made it up.
So what I wanted to do then is I wanted to poll these great people we have in the room right now.
Yes.
And I want to hear from you all what you guys are seeing out there a little bit right now in their current market here in in Charlestown or in the West Virginia area here in the Eastern Panhandle, and overall kind of what you're seeing early on as we start this year. So don't get too shy.
We have mics.
I have mics, and I will call on people if you don't. So anybody want to share what they're seeing out there? I'm looking. I know that you've never shied away from a mic in your life.
But the funniest thing is people are literally doing this behind people's heads.
Yeah, people are all excited to come. They're like, like Donnie's gonna make me talk.
Make me talk.
You got to talk first because you're never afraid of a microphone.
I got you, man. I got you.
What's going on out there? What are you seeing?
We're still in inventory issues. That's the biggest thing we're still dealing with everywhere, and I think that it's affecting our buyer pools because there's just not as much out there to look at, and I think people are seeing a lot of stale stuff that's sitting on the market for a long time, and just kind of backing away from the sending the lead information and all that.
So talk through inventory issues. Is it they're priced wrong? Is it not enough in certain areas?
It's just not enough, period.
Not enough.
When you're dealing with 120 active listings in a county and 230 in the county next door, there's 1,000 plus agents fighting over these. So
fighting over 100.
It's just not enough inventory.
I don't like that term, fighting over.
Not fighting.
No, I'm just
strategically negotiating.
I'm messing with you.
Strategically nurturing these
listings.
Yes. I'd like to hear a little more from Morella at some point in time about the pitfalls and advantages to assumable loans, because that's something that I've just ran into recently. The guy said, I have a 2.25 VA right now, and I'd like to offer my house as an assumable loan, and try to get these payments down. So I'm thinking about, and it just kind of sparked something in me to kind of think about maybe pushing for people who have done VA loans that want to sell and teaching people about the assumability of their products.
So there are a couple. So we've had some conversations about that, and we are going to do a class on that, Cardinal. But and Sarah can jump in here too. The initial downsides of this. One, like let's say Sarah wants to buy that house. Like if they only owe $200 and the house is worth $350. Well, the guy also wants $350 for it. Well, Sarah can only assume the $200 part. They can only assume the loan that's left. So the number one issue is sometimes finding that secondary money. If she doesn't have the $150 to make up the gap, so I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that's the initial downside is You need to either find a secondary financing partner.
Yes.
And we do have some that are floated on the nest. So there's some people
that most people erroneously assume that that's the interest rate that they can finance the whole balance of the sales price.
And
it's
really
just that what's
it does
left.
make it better for that if you can find that secondary financing, what the rate is.
But sometimes secondary money also is a much higher interest rate than what they could do if they just do the loan. So when you do the apples to apples and you start looking at the numbers, sometimes the assumability part it's great if they've got cash, and it's sometimes a marketing ploy.
They owe a lot.
Or if they owe a lot.
So
yes,
or if
correct.
they owe close,
if
they
the
owe a lot,
assumable loan is $425 on a $450 house,
then
Yes.
it's
the guy just
great.
wants out.
Because a lot of
Right.
VA, they can
it's
still,
not great for him, but it's great for the buyer
they
coming
can
in.
still do 100% financing on VA. So if they haven't paid down a lot on their mortgage, then that VA is awesome.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I would say is, some VAs now, if they assume if you assume this guy's VA eligibility, does this seller of Adams lose it, or can he reuse it?
Well, it depends. It depends on whether or not it's tied up.
So she can
yeah,
answer.
it depends on whether or not. So the VA changed a few years ago where it used to be just veterans were allowed to assume a VA, and they had to go through the same underwriting process, this, that, and the other. Well, they still have to go through underwriting, but non-veterans can now assume a VA, which opens the floodgates up a little bit. I'm mixed. I'm a military family, so part of me says, oh, something got taken away from my veterans, but the other part of me says, okay, well, that's a great benefit that other people can take advantage of. So you got to kind of look at it like that. Most of the time, depending on, to answer your question, most of the time the VA eligibility can be released so that they can then go and use their VA eligibility on something else. They can't use their VA eligibility, of course, on 2 homes. So if they're using it on a home they lived in, say in Florida, and then they moved to the Virginia and they still have it tied up, most of the time they can't have 2 VAs going at the same time. But as long as there's additional VA money, let's say they are eligible for $500,000 and they only use $250 on that one loan, they still have a chunk of money that they can go use on another property if someone else assumes that loan. So the VA is working through that, and it's actually regulations going on now to kind of go through some of those issues and solidify them out now that they've opened it up to let non-VA take.
Good teaching moment, because we got, it's basically the last 20 years we haven't seen an ability to jump on something like that, so nobody really knows enough about it, and it's hard for me to teach my seller about it when we've never really had to.
Well, and the
experience it,
regulations
so,
changed.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the people that were in the business 20 years ago that did, the regulations are totally different on VA loans now than they were 20 years ago. And there was a period of time where conventional loans were so cheap that nobody used their VA eligibility unless they were, I'm military and I'm using it, right? So there's a lot of changes. Mariella, why don't we get together after and we'll figure out you or somebody else to teach a VA assumable class. You need somebody really strong in VA and understands the ins and the outs, because it's still
we
tricky.
have a ton of great veterans around here too. So
Yes.
there's
let's
a super
do a class for
population
that.
of veterans out here.
Yeah, we'll do a class down here for you guys.
But I think that it is a market, so I think that talking to your sellers, is a good advantage. The good part is, look, that was it can be a selling advantage, but I actually think we're moving back into a market where, look, it's funny, it moves so quick, right, on us, but I think the last 3 to 6 months of the year, it was, how do I get somebody to buy my home a little bit? There was a buyer slowdown. I actually think it's the other way now. We talk about our biggest problem is lack of inventory.
Right.
So
And that's in a lot of
while the
markets.
assumability was a great perk for a seller to offer out now, I actually don't think they are even going to need that perk quite as much as they would, because right now I think if that guy puts the house on the market, we've kind of got 4 buyers that are ready to go for it. I think we're going to be back into a market where the buyers are there but the sellers aren't. And the one thing that I think is part of the problem is, I jokingly use this term, but I liked it. It's kind of stuck in my head. Is, we have a lot of people out there that like their house, but they love their mortgage. I was jokingly looking around, not jokingly. You always kind of look around a little bit, right? So I looked around at a house, and I saw one down the street that we like our house. I mean, we love our house, but it's a little bit more. But it's like, well, maybe I could swing it. But then the problem is, I like my house good, but I love my mortgage. My mortgage is 2.5 or 2.75 or whatever we refied in, right? Well, so now to go to something else and to move up is 5.5%, even if it's great, So I think that's somewhat the problem with some of the inventory, is that people really got to be motivated to move up or to move out or to move, because that new mortgage they're taking on is going to be higher if they're locked in at 2.75, 3%, which a lot of us did, right? A lot of us did at some point.
Well, and that's affecting our downsizing market too, right? Because people that are saying, I'm empty nesting, I want out, I need a smaller space, they're realizing that they're buying a house that's significantly smaller than what they're currently in, but with the interest rates, the payment's more. So they're like, I can stay in my big house that I don't use 3/4 of it and pay for a housekeeper for cheaper than what I can go and get a smaller house for. So that's going to affect, that's going to have ripple effects through our downsizing market and everything else.
But who's hopping on?
It'll be back here. But Adam Shively, always ready for your West Virginia referrals. Adam Shively.
Adam Shively.
SHIV, 240-405-5575.
They're going to start fighting for him. Quickest person on the message board gets it. Who's going to hop on? Tara, you going to hop to the mic? There you go. Tara, what are you seeing out there?
Is this on?
Tara,
yes.
Yeah. Tara Lowe, available for your West Virginia referrals.
And Tara says, I hate this microphone.
That's not my style.
I know. I'm joking.
What I've seen is we are having a gap still between sellers wanting to price their homes from 6 months ago and buyers not willing to or not able to buy that house for that price. So we're still getting offers, but we're getting lower offers and having our sellers they're not taking any, like maybe a little less, but
they're not being realistic about where that pricing went the last 6 months.
And they're not budging.
Right. And the other thing is the buyers are asking for closing costs again, which I think is fine. I think in this market. I read
some stat, it was like 75 or 78% of the contracts in whatever area I was looking at, the closed sales had closing costs.
Yeah.
Given back to them, 75% of them or something.
And that's not the problem. I mean, I think we're all letting our sellers know that this is the market and they should expect to.
Guess what? We're going to have an inspection.
And an inspection. Back. But the problem is they're asking for full inspections for closing costs to be taken care of and a much lower purchase price.
And the sellers just aren't willing to give all the stuff yet.
Aren't budging on all of that. So I think it's really important for us as agents to educate both our buyers and our sellers that the market has changed up front from the beginning and not just say, oh, yes, of course, I'll take your listing or I'll take you as a buyer and take them out with no education, because then you just are in gridlock again and again and again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that's definitely the case. I think I think sellers hopefully each week are getting more realistic, and I actually think that the buyer activity is going to come a little bit more to that, a little bit more. We could be wrong. But I look at, if anybody gets the Bright Weekly Market Report, it's really good to jump into because they really dive into week-over-week data, year-over-year data. And, I was really diving into yesterday. It's pretty hard. I looked at West Virginia, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. It's 4 different reports. I know I'm a geek. I like the numbers. I look into them. But, what was crazy was they looked at, so this is why everybody's feeling real poor this month probably, and if you did in January, that's okay, is that closings in the last week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks from year over year. So let's say, West Virginia, the last 2 weeks of January 2022 compared to 2023, they were down 70% overall closings in all of our jurisdictions. It was like 75% in DC down. We're talking about 1/3 and 1/4 of the amount of closings in January, this January, as last January.
And that's not because houses aren't selling. It's because there's no houses on the market to sell.
But that's November and December contracts, right? Because those are the closings in January. So on the flip side, why I'm so encouraged today is this. Our contract count this week and last week in all these jurisdictions was at like 95% of last year's data, which means the contracts are almost the same as last January. I mean, a little bit off overall in all these things. But we're talking about closings that were 70% off. So that was December and was ugly. Nobody was selling. Nobody was writing. Rates were high. Nobody wanted to sell. Nobody wanted to buy. But I feel like we've kind of gotten through that eye of the storm a little bit, because when you see contract count week after week after week going up, but as a percentage compared to what it normally is in January, getting closer to last year's numbers, where we've spent the last 4 or 5 months at 50, 60, 70, 40% every week after week, depending on what the week is, somewhere between 40 to 70% off year-over-year data. Now all of a sudden our contracts are at 90 and 95%. One of the 4 states, I forget what it was, actually had more contracts last week than the year before at the same week. So that tells me the contracts are out there. And I track actually Cardinal's contracts in on a weekly basis, compared to the last couple of years as well, and closings and contracts. And that data stays the same. Our last couple weeks are almost the exact same as last January's, but our closings are way off because this January was way off of last January based on December data. So I say a lot of weird numbers in there to tell you this. The contracts way up means the activity is back out there the last couple weeks.
And it's coming.
We've seen, I was walking around the office the other day and Dilyara popped in. She goes, Donnie, the market's back. It's crazy because Dilyara is, one of our most successful individual agents, but she was it's real slow. And she's like, I had all these houses and she had, 5 different stories that had all popped in the last week or two. So sometimes, hearing what's going on overall and hearing other people kind of what they're seeing out there is really encouraging. So we've seen, 2 weeks ago we were in Gainesville and we had people that had listings in November and December that had been on for 90 days and nobody was coming to the open houses in November, December. And then they popped one out January 16th, January 18th, and all of a sudden 25 people were coming to that open house, which means those buyers, that were sitting out the holiday season, they're back out there and looking. So I think every county's different, every jurisdiction's different, but I think we're starting to see those buyers back out there and that force out there. Mr. Burr, I put a mic in front of you. That means you got to share what you think is going on out there, Bob.
Well, I'm finding out that the new home construction is the way to go now up here. The builders
out here got a lot of builder activity.
The builders are giving more of an incentive, $10,000, $15,000 closing help cost. Plus, they're willing to negotiate the upgrades.
And a year ago at this time, they wouldn't give you one red nickel for anything, right? I'm going to guess. I don't know. I wasn't selling in these counties 10 months ago, but in every new construction, right, they wouldn't give you, oh, you want a door? You're going to have to pay for that, right? But now.
You can have the door, you just can't have the door handle. Yeah.
Yeah, I recently just was asking for a rough-in in the basement, and what else? Mm-hmm. I mean, just straight up, they're willing to negotiate the price.
And the builders are a funny thing because whether it's this area or any area, builders are every seller, to Tara's point earlier, every seller has their own mindset because it's personal to them. It's their house. I saw the guy 3 streets down get X. I want to get as close to X as possible. But builders, it's a commodity, right? So they're sometimes the easiest ones to track as far as how do they see the overall market go because they got 6 houses to sell. And in June, they got 25 people in, so they're not budging a second, right, or budging $1. But all of a sudden, in November, December, nobody's in there. They're giving you everything. Look, you're the first person coming here this week. They might not say it out loud. Sometimes they do say it out loud. They mess up. They say, well, now I'm going to negotiate really hard, right? But if you know that nobody's come in that week, as opposed to 25 people come in that week, they are such a better judge of the activity overall because they just have an asset and there's no emotional attachment to it. So they're going to give more closing costs. They're going to give more stuff, and they're going to be the first indicator to do that stuff. So we say lack of inventory. If new homes got to be sold, they still do have some inventory in some places. It just depends.
And they've pulled less permits, so they're slowing down
They slowed down a lot at the end of the year because there wasn't the buyers out there. My guess is as they see this ramp up, though, you're going to see more and more of it because they're going to ramp up if they have the buyers to buy them. At the end of the year, they didn't have as many buyers to buy them.
And I'll give an example. I had a new home construction client that we'd had under contract for 7 months. And when we first went under contract, the interest rates were one thing. And when we were supposed to go to closing a week or so ago, the interest rates were something else, and it doubled their house payment. They said, I'm out. I can't buy it. It was $1.5 million or $1.4 million house. They're like, I'm out. And the builder said, what is it going to take to make them buy it? So, I had them, the builder was giving them already 50-some thousand in concessions on top of the free basement, on top of the things. And I went in and said, well, let's give them $100,000 more, and they were willing to do it. And the clients were like, nope, out. But the builder was really, at that point, willing to give me another $100,000 just to get them to the table. So if you can find those spec houses, any of the builders that have got inventory.
What they should have done instead of $100,000 was attack the interest rate with that money.
Right, that's what I said.
That's what scared them off, right?
That's what scared them off. And then at the end of the day, it was like they just got disillusioned, right? And then the buyer mentality, they got in their own heads, and we couldn't move them. But at the end of the day, the builder said to me, we're taking a bath. We've had 5 cancellations this week. We're taking a bath. So they're doing anything they can. So to your point, that new construction, you might be able to find your people some deals.
In some areas, if there is some, it's a good indicator. But the builders are, they're ahead of the curve when it comes to to moving with the market because they see it in an overall sense. We just can't see it with one individual person. So a good thing to look out for if you have new construction in your area. There seems to be a lot in general in these areas, up and down, but it depends on kind of wherever you're watching this. If there's new construction around, it's not a good idea to open that up as a possible option if you have a lack of inventory out there. So, other thoughts on the market that people are seeing out there? Miss Angela, anything? She's like, don't pick on me.
She said, no.
You could say, oh, there you go. Zach Attack's getting
Zach's
one.
like, I'm coming.
Well, I am mostly contained actually right now to commercial. So,
okay.
A lot of activity, commercial, some real big things happening. So,
well, that makes sense, right? Because commercial is usually inverse to residential. Yeah.
So you're
sometimes
you've seen some good activity in commercial. I've heard you had a couple of good deals. I got to ask you about later.
Me?
But so commercial, you've pivoted a little bit more towards commercial recently than
commercial is my
residential.
favorite. Commercial, reuse, revitalize, historic tax credits, opportunity zones. Those are all my bailiwick.
Okay.
So that's where I like to be. I do residential.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that's where I like to be.
Oh, I love it.
That's hilarious.
Projects?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love projects.
Most people like the quicker hit.
No, I like those too. But here's when you work
I thought
commercial.
you were going to say that's my bailiwick. You've never heard that because
No.
you haven't heard of many sayings. So
Well,
I figured you just hadn't heard of that one.
You've heard bailiwick.
It's been like 4 meetings in a row. You haven't heard of
it's
something.
a Southern thing.
You use sayings that don't make sense to anybody but you.
I like the cut of his jib. Has anybody ever heard that
No.
one? Thank you. That's an excellent saying that I use. I don't care for the cut of his jib.
I have never.
I don't care for the cut of your jib.
I don't jib you either.
I don't jib you.
So the funniest thing is Chris had to he used that in a lunch and learn, and Chris actually texted me, and people were texting me in the thing what it meant and screenshotting like what it meant. And so it was Christy Jacobs, and she texted me. I'm like, great. So he's an 1800 sailor. Great.
Yeah.
I guess
that
is
comes
about
from a
his
sailor.
mentality.
It's the jib on a sail, I guess. I didn't know what it came for, but I just know the sail.
Never.
I didn't
No.
say. Anyway, though, you were saying that's your bailiwick, and then I went sidetracked, which is what I do sometimes.
Yeah, to me, commercial is it's very involved. You have to have your ducks in a row. You have to know.
Have you heard that one?
Everything from
No. What does that mean?
Phase 1 EPAs all the way down to codes and cities and municipalities. Seth knows all this. Are you shaking your head? Yeah. Okay. Rocco. So yeah, I like it because it's more involved. So I like to do commercial and then fill in with residential, and that's kind of like I call that candy money.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know
But you're seeing increased activity in commercial.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of
Good.
and a little bit of increase in residential too. But to Tara's point, educating sellers and buyers and setting expectations from that very first meeting is paramount in this market.
You know, and I got going on this. I was on a NAREP panel a couple months ago, and look, that's why we're professionals in this field, right? Anybody can just go and say, "Oh,
Sure,
okay,
I'll do whatever you want me to do."
You want to list for $800,000? Sure, sounds good. You want to list for $450,000, even though the market's $400,000 because you saw. Look, guys, you have to have the hard conversations up front. You have to set their expectations, what their house needs to look like, what the price needs to be. Anybody can just do whatever the seller says, but then what happens is this. You price the home at $450,000 because they said, I want to price it at $450,000. Well, then all of a sudden it becomes $425,000. You knew it should have been $400,000 from the begin with, but you were too scared to say that, right? Well, then you chase, you end up 90 days in, now you price it $400,000.
Well, not only that, it's unnecessary stress for your clients. Your clients are unhappy.
Yeah, and you end up getting $380,000 for it because you missed the real market for it because you didn't advertise it the right way to begin with. You have to be a pro. We all have 100 stories like that of our career, but learn from others around you that are saying that.
In other words, grow a set.
Did you say grow a set?
Yes.
Oh, man. All right.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking that, but man up, be the professional.
Man up.
Say the correct. Woman up. Say that.
Woman up.
Be the professional that you need to be. Show them the comps and justify it. Manage their expectations from the beginning. The other big one we've tried is this. My Uncle Casey was a big proponent of this, is put it on coming soon for a week or 2 weeks ahead of time if you need to. If they say, fine, I want to be at 425 or I want to be at 450 in this example, great. We're going to put it at coming soon. We're going to track the activity. If we've got no likes, we've got no favorites, nobody set up any showings in showing time, guys, we're going to huddle 2 days before we actually go live. And we're going to look at the data. And if nobody's looking at it, nobody's favoring it, or we've got very little activity on this property, then we have to drop it down to the next price point.
Well, or the other flip side of that with your client is, and the flip side, seller, is that if it's got 42 likes and 96 favorites.
Great, we nailed it.
Then we nailed it, and we're raising it, or we're going on live and we're going to get 25 contracts, and we're going to ride it up, or whatever. I mean, you can couch it so it's not just the hard.
Right, and if you're right on the market, great. Then multiple people will get in there. You'll
have contracts. You'll ride it up.
Situation, you'll get the contract you want. But that's just managed expectations is a great point we always like to hit home. Miss Christie, I shoved a mic in front of your face. You got anything to say? You just like,
hello.
You know, hello.
She goes, no, you just gained it as me.
No, I really don't have anything to say. But
Christie, you're a talker, so
I am. Well, you know, game recognizes game.
Oh, nice, nice.
I agree with everything that's been said. What I will say is, home builders are now, even though they have it listed in MLS as a flat rate around here of 35, I just got a referral from Cardinal Nest, thank you very much, and it was a 55 flat rate.
Okay.
So make sure that what they say is actually what you're going to get, and you may be pleasantly surprised.
There you go.
Nice.
The other thing is, like, don't be afraid to say, look, we're looking,
at these other
it's not about
companies.
you, but you could say if a builder's offering a flat rate, I do think they're going to hopefully meet those incentives to say, look, we're looking at other stuff. Don't do this in front of your client, but say we're also looking at resales and,
And I'm getting this here.
I'm
and
getting
this
3%
here.
on this bad boy, and I'm getting
Absolutely,
1% flat rate on yours. Can we help make this?
Yeah, make it work. Let's
make it more
help
equitable.
me help you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm seeing that, and then again, it's just echoing what everybody else has already said. The sellers are being very obstinate, and
do you need a dictionary for that one?
God, Liv is Liv is just
I am obstinate.
seeing the same thing that I'm seeing with my seller. Like they've been sitting on the market, so now they need to get every dime, blah blah blah. But also on the opposite end, I was just in a multiple offer situation. We were talking about how inspections are coming back. We went $60K over cash deal. The only inspection was just right to terminate, and we didn't get it because we had an inspection.
Yeah.
So they took a higher price, but it's subject to financing appraisal. Yep. So, I mean,
just hang on, that might come back around.
Yeah, it might, exactly. Chances are it's going to. But anywho, yeah. So that's what I'm seeing.
So we're seeing a lot of positive trends out there, which is good. Look, if we've been talking, I might have been afraid to give out those mics 45 days ago, if I'm being honest, because I don't think that we had a lot.
We didn't have a lot of positive news.
We didn't have a lot of positive news in November, December on the market. Nobody wanted to sell and nobody wanted to buy, and that's a tough place to be. Now I think we're having more people in the summer. I think we have more people that do want to buy, and I think that we got to get some more people to sell to scratch that itch. And when we do have people to sell, we got to manage your expectations, get into a good spot that we can create win-win scenarios. So a lot more positive.
Yes.
Wanted to kind of highlight a couple of education opportunities we have coming up, and then get to our thanking our Cardinal people. I think during our break, and this in my pocket, it stopped moving on me, Justin. It's not advancing for me. Can you advance the next one for me, please? Sir, please and thank you.
All right, we're going to do a deep dive into KV Core and Sky Slope, Waldorf, on the 2nd of February. And
it's tomorrow.
Is it really?
Today's February 1st.
Wow. Yeah, it is. You're right. February 21 in Alexandria. March, we're going to be Gaithersburg and Chantilly. So remember, this is not the overall orientation. This is the deep dive, hands-on, how to use Sky Slope, tips and tricks, how to make it do what you want it to do, as well as KV Core. Setting up your KV Core, just the basic level of being able to use it for functionality to enhance your business.
As well as our marketing education days. We're going to be in DC in February. We're also going to be at Lake Ridge and Waldorf, already scheduled for March. So this is where our team travels around. You can always set up one-on-ones with our team, either in person, on Zoom, on the phone. They are live and able to start helping you again. We were down for a day or two transitioning, but this is where they all come out into the fields. We are going to start to bring Zach and Justin out into the field too and take some headshots at these things. So look for those sign-up sheets whenever we have a marketing education day as well. Some of you all probably looking pretty today. I think, are you taking some today, Justin? There you go. So we can tell whoever's dressed up pretty is doing the headshot.
If you're pretty, you're getting a headshot. If you're not pretty, you're not getting a headshot, is what he's saying. Yeah.
But Talking Social with
Today.
Brittany, we've always got Lynn stuff. We do have a V8. Looky there.
In
Look at
Arlington.
that,
Adam, you were ahead of the
Arlington,
curve.
so you
It's in
gotta drive to
Arlington.
tomorrow,
You're going to have
but
to
we have
schlep.
a VA assumable class.
Just schlep it.
So I
right
knew
on
we
over.
had those stuck on the schedule. I didn't
Yes.
remember when. So we have to start to move those around a little bit to get to everybody. But, we've got lots of great things around our table. Gainesville contract roundtable and contract class. Tomorrow, agent roundtable, Silver Spring, simpler stuff.
I want to paint.
You want to? There was a sip and paint on there.
There was a sip and paint. Maybe
I'll
just sip and not paint. My paint would be a lot better if I just sipped.
As a special shout out, all of you that got through dry January, it's February 1st, so congratulations to all of you.
So, funniest thing ever, I'm driving down here, and the vineyard up on the hill on the right-hand side.
That was a funny sign.
I'm driving down, and it was like, dry January, ? Ha ha, not here. And I was like, that's awesome.
But
yeah, that was awesome.
It is February. You just mentioned sip and paint,
yeah,
so
sip
I thought
and
about
paint.
that. Now,
I did not dry January, so kudos to you if you did.
Shout out to my wife that made it through. I did not.
Did she make it through?
I gave up early in January. But
I don't even know why you tried.
In general, though, remember I sent out the weekly updates. We tape those every Friday. Last one was the moving edition. It was just me and a computer. But we'll get those looking pretty again soon.
In his illegal office.
But in my legal office. The weekly updates, they do a 10-minute overview. We talk about what's going on this week. Great education classes coming up. You can always go to the calendar on the Nest. See what's coming up next. Most stuff you can engage in virtually if you're at an office that isn't close to there. But remember, if you're going in, bring a buddy. In person is always great if you have the time. So if you can get to any of this stuff, it's always going to help you out.
The other funny thing about our offices, just for those of you that might find this just slightly comical with me, Donnie and I actually have doors on ours. Nobody else does. But we don't have the glass satellite panel. We don't have the glass in. So we'll shut our door and people are like, yeah. And they'll just step in the glass and come on in. Or you're on the phone and you shut the door so you can have a conversation, and then people just sit there and stare like they come in through the. So funny.
I was in a meeting on Friday, and
all
of you know Bethany, so you'd appreciate this. But I'm in a meeting, I close the door because I'm really going to make it private, right? First of all,
private, no glass.
I hear a cackle out in the hallway. I'm like, Bethany, quiet down, because I know she can hear me because I'm in a meeting. So Bethany's like, oh, what did you say? Through the window, and now she's in. I just told you to be quiet. Now you step through my imaginary window, and you're in my office.
It is an imaginary window.
So we are coming along. The glass will help.
The glass will
It keeps the Bethany's
The glass
out.
is laying on the floor.
That's what the glass is for.
The glass is actually technically laying on the floor.
Oh, is that the glass?
I
didn't
think
even
so.
notice that was it. But
I think so.
We're getting there, slowly but surely.
But it was funny. You just had to have been there. But that's the first thing I did. He looked at me and he shut the door, and I'm like, ha ha ha.
The only plus
Hello,
is
friend.
because it's not finished, we're technically living for free day by day. So I'm like, I'm not starting this lease until this is actually in here.
And I am going to say, for anybody that likes to take their life in their own hand, we did have a Nerf war there yesterday. So Nerf darts are all over the place from where we had a.
Yes, we're having fun. So
yes.
I'm going to close the meeting today with the 86 wonderful people that brought deals to transactions to Cardinal Title Group.
So thankful.
That closed in the last 2 weeks, and these are going up every week. So I'm thankful for that. But these are the 86 that we're going to go through that have closed at Cardinal since our last meeting 2 weeks ago. Alex Echampong, Ali Dejanata.
2 times.
2 times. Ali D, my man. Amanda Braska, Amy Presley, Anil Khanna, Anis Khan, Epichana Pichakul, Arslan and Saad Jamil, Arturo Salemi, Awaz Nassim, Bobby Hambley, Brandon Carroll, Carlos Fuentes, Catalina Sanchez, Danica Hu, Debbie Henry, Dereje Gurma, Dilyara Diminiva, 2 times, Lee Sherbin, and my man Eddie Torres of Redstone Group.
Elizabeth Frink, Emmanuel Neves. Oh, it's Manny. That's Manny Neves. Emily Blakely, Ingalls De Leon, Eric.
Ingalls De Leon.
De Leon. Oh, did you throw an accent in there?
I
Do that
just
again.
made
Do
it
that
up.
again.
Ingalls De Leon.
De Leon. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Eric Velasquez, Gomathi Nagaraj, Greg Kalangian, Han Win Liu, Harman Singh, Imo Degbo, Yvette Boer, Jae-Young Yoon, Jalal Achir. I'm just throwing
What's
verbs
funny is
in
when
there.
you say these names all the time.
You say them all the time.
And then you get to a name you really know and you butcher it because you're like you've talked to Jalal a million times.
A million times. Sorry, Jalal. Jan Allen, Jason Chepperdek, Jay Johnson, Jay No, Janelle Alexander, Jessica Posada, and Jessica Ryan. Thank you, guys.
Jessica Vasquez, John Agim 2 times, John Horton, John McCambridge with his lovely wife, Kathy. John Rawlings.
Have you ever called out John's name without saying with his lovely wife, Kathy?
I think I have, but yes.
I don't think you have.
You know, maybe you should do the same.
Okay. They would like to go home.
They're a pair. They would like to go home. So you want me to finish? Okay.
Y'all would like to, yeah.
They don't. Well, you were the one that interrupted me.
I did. Go ahead.
All right. Jorge Bahabat.
Did you do John Rawlings?
John Rawlings. I don't remember. Jose Ruiz. Joy Haskins. Joyce Shaw. Julie Park. Juliet Sherrill, Justin Bailey, Keela Welsh, Kelly Ortiz, Carrie Ralston, Kevin Wright, Kieran Morzaria, Kyle Grauman, Lakeisha Malloy, Maria Georgiev.
Martha Acevedo, Melody Briscoe, Natalie and Kurt McArthur, Orantes Patrick, Paulette Waiters, Phyllis Bedford, Prudence Waffo, Ray Brommel, Rich DeGori, Robin Sharma 2 times, Sam Misla, Sarndeep Sarkaria, Satish Jossi, Sebastian Edmonds, Sergio Garcia, not the golfer, Shawnika Denton, Simone Agasoye, Stephanie Johnson, Tammy Irby, Tina Rogers, Vitaly Bednoff, and William Restrepo. Thank you, guys
Thank
very,
you all
very
so
much.
For the support of Cardinal Title Group. You know, I'm just very thankful. I want to kind of close with this, that, you know, we actually closed on time for once. The support you guys have all given has been fantastic. Thank you so much for continuing to recruit your friends, continue to bring transactions to Cardinal Title Group. I'm thankful here locally in West Virginia. We've got our law firm up. We've got great people here. The immediate support the first 10 or 12 days has been awesome for the law firm, so thank you.
You guys have great
so
energy
much
in
for
this
that.
office. Just
you guys
good
are
family
doing great.
office, yes.
You know, locally here, for those that don't know, I mean, we're almost full offices here, so I think, you know, there are already people bird dogging me and need to open a second office, so we'll see how that looks. But, you know, we're just thankful for the growth and thankful for hanging with us during this. The winter was tough for everybody, but hopefully we're through that. We're into February. We feel that spring market coming, so let's all jump in together and stay together and continue to support Cardinal Title Group. Thank you so much for that, and continuing to build this family together better every single day.
Yes, thank you very much. Enjoy the snow. Drive safe.
We'll
Have
see
a
you in
great
White
week.
Marsh next week.
Yes.
Peace out.
See you later.
The winter was tough for everybody, but hopefully we're through that. We're into February. We feel that spring market coming, so let's all jump in together and stay together and continue to support Cardinal Title Group. Thank you so much for that, and continue to build this family together better every single day.
Yes, thank you very much. Enjoy the snow. Drive safe.
We'll
Have
see
a
you in
great
White
week.
Marsh next week.
Yes.
Peace out.
See you later.